Hi everyone! Weather is beautiful, finally it is cold here in our coastal Connecticut Zone 7 and I have to do several last steps to make sure that my roses are going into winter all right. So this video is about that, how I finish winterizing our roses and putting them into a cozy beautiful sleep for winter. When cold weather hits our region, everything in my garden slows down. Roses are slowly losing the last of its leaves. I make sure that I collect them all under this rose, and generally all the metabolism in these long stems are coming to the end. Roses stop taking nutrients from the ground and it's coming into this hibernation time. Now, this is my wonderful rose, Lady of Shalott, and because we live in Zone 7, I don't need to do a lot of extra preparations to put my rose to bed. There are several things which I like to do though. Now, if you live in an area where you don't know what to do with your roses, what to do when you're a beginning gardener, I highly advise you to call the Rose Society in your state if you live in America. They're very friendly folks and they're ready to share their information with anybody who will call and inquire about rose care. So those folks would be the folks to give you exact information you need how to take care after your rose in your area, because you don't want to overwinterize your rose, and also you don't want to expose your rose to unnecessary risks and lose your rose, come back in spring and all these wonderful stems are basically dead. They didn't survive the winter. Here you can see much better how the stems of the rose bushes are stretching towards the sun on this side. You see how they go towards the sun on this side. And it's quite a tall bush at this point, so the question is, why did I wait to the big frost, meaning the temperature in mid-20s through the night? Because I don't want to provoke my Lady of Shalott to create new shoots. Now, when the temperature is cold, this bush realizes that it's time to go into dormancy. Everything is slowing down, and I don't run the risk of running new tender shoots, which can be damaged by the frost. And generally, there is no need for these beautiful shrubs to create new vegetation in the fall. That is why I wait for this fall haircut. I wait for the first frost, and since for the last 2 nights we'd had freezing conditions, today is the day to do final steps for my beautiful roses in the garden. As you can see, the color of the stems is changing. Stems are becoming this dull green color, and some of them are turning into a purplish green, which is very natural at this time of the year. This way roses are signaling me that they are going into dormancy and all the processes in their stems are slowing down. Now, when you look at the bottom here on the on my rose bushes, you can see that I cleaned everything really well. All the leaves are done. This rose is susceptible to black spot at the end of summer, so I make sure that I clean all the leaves really well from underneath. And whatever is on top, which I'm going to take down, all the stems, I'm going to dispose into the garbage. I'm not going to throw it into the compost pile. There are several leaves just fell down, which is okay. So for this job, I would need my clippers and I would need my gloves. I usually put small gloves to deal with my roses, but today, because I'm going to take so many stems off, I don't want to run the risk of scraping my skin. So I'm putting these gloves. They are lambskin gloves, and they really protect my hands against any damage, any possible damage from these wonderful little rose thorns. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to clip to the out-facing bud, because this is, I call it indiscriminative clippings. This rose will undergo a severe cleaning in spring. So what I'm going to do right now, without really paying attention to the where buds are, I'm just going to take the top layer here because I don't want it to swing in the wind and hit each other. So this is what I'm going to do, just that. And if I see that some stems are rubbing against each other, I will take the weaker one off. And of course, if I see that some stems are already dead, I will take them off too. Now again, the major trimming on shrub roses are done in spring, but because I don't want any damage to this rose against the wind, cold wind of winter, I am taking all the extra stems now. And because I do it after the first strong frost in our area, I know that my rose is not going to be forced to produce new shoots. Rose is going into dormancy and no new shoots are going to be produced. Yeah, it fell. Okay. All right. Here we go. Some people take all the leaves off the bush. Since this lady of Charlotte is somewhat prone to black spot, I'm going to do that. But other roses which I have in my garden, I don't really bother taking all the leaves down. Like you see this generous garden at the back? I don't bother about those leaves. But Lady of Charlotte, I make sure that I'm very diligent in cleaning all the leaves from underneath, laying on the ground. All right. All right. Now I'm looking at crossing canes. There is a dead cane right here. Okay, I'm taking it down. Oh gosh. All right, this dead cane, as you can see, it's clearly dead. So it's not going to be living. Why to keep it? All right, so there's another dead stuff. Another dead thing. Okay. So you can take dead things which are crossing, and generally you minimize the size of the bush for it not to sway in the wind. Now this next step, what needs to be done here. What I like to do is to put a nice layer of cow manure, which I have right here. All the sticks are gone. I will clean it up later. Let me make sure everything is clean and neat here. All the sticks are gone. It looks pretty good here. Just a little bit of leaves. All right. Now what I'm going to do, what I like to do, I like to condition the soil around the root ball of the rose. And what I use black cow manure. Black Cow is the name of the company. All right. So what happens is it doesn't only protect this layer of cow manure, it doesn't only protect the root ball of the rose from freezing sowing conditions of winter, it also conditions the soil. And by the way, I'm not going to remove it in spring. I will leave the soil here. It will work itself down thanks to worms, and it would be a good growing environment for my roses. Again, because we garden in zone 7, I don't need to do severe measures to protect my rose for winter. All right. Okay, this is it about the shrub rose. It is well insulated for zone 7. I don't need to do a big mound of soil around the root ball. This would be very good for this rose. And the stems are not going to rub against the wind. There would be no damage. And my rose is ready to go into winter. Now let's go to a different rose. I will show you a different situation in my garden. Here I have another rose in my garden. Here's a link. I was talking about it in my previous videos. This is a damaged rose, and because it's a weak rose going into winter, I made sure that I built this very temporarily chicken wire mesh around it. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to fill this mesh after I put cow manure here. Also, I will do the same thing what I did to my Lady of Shalott, and then I will fill this area here with all the leaves from the mulberry bush. Again, I don't use maple leaves because they have a tendency to clump together. I probably will mix those two types of leaves together, I don't know. And as you can see, there are a lot of sticks here because I'm in the middle of the growing boxwood hedge here, and I'm trying really hard for nobody to step in my garden on these baby plants when we have snow and nobody knows what is growing, but everybody wants to run around here. We have a very heavy foot traffic here. So these sticks should tell everybody, please don't come here because there are baby boxwoods are growing. And of course, these long ones, as long as they're natural and they're not screaming neon colors in my garden, this construction is good with me. Plus, it's very temporary. So this is what I'm going to do to this rose. I'm taking all the leaves out because once I put the cow manure here, I'm not going to touch it in spring. It will be built into the soil, so I don't want any leaves here. All right, here we go. I don't want to damage the rose. Maybe I should have done the protection first and then installed my wire mesh. But hey. You're going to be all right. You will survive. I know you're weakened. But look, she wants to create a little rose here. I'm not sure if you will. Right, this should do for this rose. She should be all right now. Well protected, and I never know. Maybe she will create a rose after Thanksgiving? I don't know. Well, let's see. Alright, so this is it with this rose. Let's go to another corner of my garden. I will show you another different rose. Alright, this is my next one. This is my climber. Two climbers, generous gardeners. Because this climber is so hardy, they are good for zone 4 and we live in zone 7. All what I'm going to do, I'm going to cover the root system with cow manure, and I will trim all those shoots because they are getting too, again, swaying in the wind and potentially getting damaged by the wind. So this is what I'm doing right now. And again, I don't really bother how I cut it, as long as it's not swaying in the wind. All right, that's it. You know what? There is a big, the big new shoot which went all the way there, and I didn't tie it, so that's what I'm going to do. Those two last ones, I'm going to tie it to the to this arch, because they are beautiful new this year shoots, and I want to save them. Right, without any detail-oriented tying, I will just generally will grab all these big stems and will tie them in. This way, they're not swaying. Good. Done. Done. This generous gardener is very healthy. I'm not being bothered by collecting all this leaves. It's fine. They just run around. Oh, and look at these frost-damaged fresh flowers. Oh well, let me see if they have a scent. Oh, they do have a scent. Beautiful. Oh well. The last scent of the year, you know? All right, here we go. What I'm doing, I am putting cow manure into this area here. So here we go. That's it. All this good stuff will eventually go down the soil and will condition it very well. And this is how the bottom looks now, and this is how the bottom looks here, and this is how the top looks of my climb. See? Even if the strong wind comes, nothing is going to be damaged here. So my climber is all ready to go into winter. Here's another situation in my garden where I have climbing roses, young climbing roses, as I showed you in my previous videos. And because these guys, you see, they are supposed to go this way, and of course Rose doesn't get it. Rose wants to grow any direction it wants, but I'm going to train it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it. This way, in spring, when the rose has all its energy to spend on new shoots and new healthy blooms, it will create new healthy shoots from the base, and I will be able to train them to go on this fence. So don't be afraid to trim away anything what is growing in a wrong direction for you. Don't worry, you're not going to kill a rose for that. Okay, all right, this is it. the big job of the season is done. And look at this, I managed to collect a little bit of flowers for my in-house vase. Maybe I will receive some blooms under the influence of warm air in the house. This video is going to be aired when everybody is celebrating Thanksgivings in America. So I'm going to wish everybody who's watching this video a very healthy and happy time with your family and friends. Happy gardening, and I will see you next time.